and stiff and your nervous system upset. Manganese. There's a lot of Parkinson's types of symptoms that result from long-term usage of tranquilizers. Manganese in a good dosage removes some of these shimmers and shakes that happen when you're having or on tranquilizers. So whether you're schizophrenic or not, or using these anticonvulsant medications because of those, please consider manganese. Methionine detoxes histamine. Remember how I said most of schizophrenics have high histamine? Methionine is an amino acid that can detox the histamine out of the body and lower those levels and bring it to a more normal level as well. Once again, I've just cited some things. There are other things. Tons and tons and tons of studies. And if I can please encourage anybody out there who has a schizophrenic member of the family, doctors, nurses, anybody, please, I'll give you the research that I have here. There's books, documentation, tons out there. Please, I address these issues. In addition, I understand that there's some helpful, effective medications out there, hopefully not the medications that my customer was using that freaked me out. But please, address these issues for the safety of your patient as well as for the safety of the community. Thank you. Next, we're going to be moving on to the fitness portion of our show. Hi, welcome to the fitness portion of our show. And as you may know, this week Jack LaLanne passed away. And I wanted to say a little bit of something about this. I know normally I show you an exercise, but I think I need to remind everybody how important fitness is for the everyday person. This was a book written in 1961, The Jack LaLanne Way to Vibrant Good Health. You know, I was 1 year old when this was. And in here, this man talks about exercise and diet, and he's got on the back here Gary Cooper talking about, and these were old age, you'd have to be older, talking about simple ways to be fit. And I can remember as a little girl exercising with my grandmother on TV with Jack, while she was exercising with Jack LaLanne. And I've had more of my customers say the same thing to me. They remember their parents and grandparents exercising with this man. Nowadays, we can barely get 5% of our population moving away from the TV, from sitting and raising their beer bottles and everything else, and then they're wondering why their health is so bad. This man, age 96, reminds us that the simple everyday man, if he takes motions and movements to take care of his body, eating good foods, staying physically happy, staying happy, but physically active, hey, he can swim the English Channel, he can swim Alcatraz, he can do anything if he keeps his body fit and his mind fit. You know, it's kind of funny, I was looking through some of the ideal weight listings on one of the charts that was in this book, and I noticed on here that they've changed. I think we've given more latitude to our American population to allow us to be overweight and unhealthy. So if anything that I can do in this particular segment, I'm going to ask you, please consider fitness as an everyday thing. I know we talk a lot about it, diet and all of that being a part, but find something. And you know, you can even go on YouTube and look up some of his old exercises. You can get videos, you can exercise with your chair. I mean, there's exercises in here where he's got 2 metal chairs together and he's showing how to do exercises. Please, check a fitness program that's right for you, and maybe we can live to be 96 and healthy just like Jack LaLanne. Thank you very much. Next, we're going to be moving on to the wonderful research portion of our show. Thank you. Welcome to the research portion of our show, and with us today is Ralph Turchiato. Ralph?
Thank you for that intro. Well, today we're looking at an old study in a new way, and particularly to vitamin E. A while back, there was a study on University of Helsinki in Finland on vitamin E, which they said it made no difference in life expectancy, almost demonizing vitamin E to the point where they almost said it shortened life expectancy. Well, in a study published in the Age and Aging, they looked at that study, but they looked at it a different way. The problem with the study in regards to life expectancy is they encountered or included all age groups in that vitamin E. But when they just looked at the age group at 71 plus, they discovered something very interesting in regards to vitamin E. In their words, vitamin E reduced mortality by all causes of death by 24% in those 71 or older. In other words, that attributed to about another 2 years of the upper limit of life. So vitamin E did make a difference. It was all depending on how you look at that study. They also said if vitamin E influences the lifespan, it's possible that a benefit of older participants might be camouflaged by the large middle-aged majority of the study participants itself. So again, 2 years of extra life expectancy past the age of 71. Obviously not a panacea, but 2 years past 71 is pretty darn significant, especially if those are healthy years. Well, moving on. Now we look at PMS. Well, this was written in the Biomed Central Open Access Journal to Reproductive Health. And again, this was just this week. They discovered one simple thing. The administration of 1 or 2 grams of essential fatty acids to patients with PMS resulted in a significant decrease in symptom scores. That was about after 3 months. Now remember, the essential fatty acid they're talking about is one in particular, it's GLA, gamma-linolenic acid. Not necessarily the fish oils, which are EPA and DHA, or your flaxseed oil, it's linolenic acid and alpha-linolenic acid. It was GLA, which of course is found primarily in borage oil and or even primrose oil itself. So if someone's looking to reduce those symptoms, they're having a hard time, it's 1 or 2 grams. And their words were, quote, women who are given capsules containing 2 grams of combination gamma-linolenic acid, in short GLA, oleic acid, linolenic acid, and other polyunsaturated fatty acids, and vitamin E, reported significantly eased PMS symptoms at both 3 and 6 months after. Now keep that in mind. It may take a little bit of time. It's not an immediate impact. 3 to 6 months after. They also said too, essential oil capsules can now be said to show much promise as a therapeutic and reliable treatment. Again, that was in the Biomed Central Open Access Journal of Reproductive Health, January 16th, 2011. And now we go on to a whole slew of little negative things in regards to certain drug companies. Statins. This was reviewed in what's called the Cochrane Systematic Review, January 18th, 2011. Benefits questionable in low-risk patients. They concluded, their topic sentence, the whole beginning of the entire study was this: there is not enough evidence to recommend the widespread use of statins in people with no previous history of heart disease, no previous industry. Keep that in mind. They also said too, given that low cholesterol has been shown to increase the risk of death from other causes, statins may do more harm than good. How did they come to this conclusion? The researchers reviewed data from 14 trials involving 34,272 patients. They showed, remember most of it was industry-sponsored studies, that statins reduced the risk of dying from 9 to 8 deaths for every 100,000 people treated with statins each year. A 1-person reduction in death per 1,000 over an entire year. And that was from industry-sponsored studies, meaning the people making the drugs telling the FDA this is what it does. However, even on top of that, the researchers say that the conclusions of the review are limited by unclear, selective, and potentially biased reporting by the companies submitting those studies. So it means it could even be much worse than that. The researchers pointed out that all but one of the trials they reviewed were industry-sponsored. It goes, the numbers eligible for treatment with statins are potentially great. So there might be motivations, for instance, to stop trials earlier if the interim results support their use. Meaning, stop the trials before the side effects start kicking in and people start dying from the medication potentially. So, they said there's a lot of funny business going on. The authors also concluded that combined interventions had little or no impact on deaths caused by cardiovascular disease in regards to use from statins. It's something interesting. So basically, this is solid, heavy research data from the Cochrane report from January 18th, 2011. Let's see your news channels pick that up and report it to you. Now, to Tamiflu. This is also from the Cochrane group. Based on published trial data, they said the use of Tamiflu is wholly inadequate and ethically dubious, quote unquote. Their calls come after they reviewed the evidence of the antiviral drug Tamiflu and were unable to find sufficient data to support the conclusion of Tamiflu reduces complications in healthy adults. The reason this is important: what was your first line of defense in regards to swine flu? It was Tamiflu. Governments spent hundreds of millions buying this drug based upon ethically dubious data. They also said, quote, that Roche Pharmaceutical publicly pledged to make full results for 10 unpublished clinical trials available for scrutiny. Roche Pharmaceutical, in their words, quote, yet to date have failed to fulfill their promise. They also said they discovered the problems after 10 serious adverse events in patients enrolled in 2 key manufacturer-funded trials were not reported in journal publications arising from those trials. Other recent cases where the true effects of drugs have emerged only after all the evidence, including unpublished data, have been analyzed, have further highlighted the importance of an independent evaluation, especially of Tamiflu. They urge researchers, the public, and the media to work together to put pressure on the industry to embrace the ethical responsibility to release data in the public interest. They also said, quote unquote, it is time the media, the Cochrane collaboration, and any reader interested in knowing what they are prescribing or being prescribed increase the pressure on policymakers. If you swallow a medication, you need to know how it works for real. And that's what that's what the researchers are telling us. I find it very interesting with Tamiflu, and it's something to think about, that generally the exact same side effects of Tamiflu, total organ failure, were also the exact same side effects from people dying from the swine flu, total organ failure. Something really disturbing to look at. And now, back to the MMR link, and we may have heard a lot about Dr. Wakefield. Well, I had a little bit of a problem with this because in many of the medications, they said there was no detection of vaccine viruses in the bowel, brain, or other tissues of the Wakefield series. Well, basically what they discovered was this. In 2006, Wake Forest University School of Medicine, North Carolina, examining 275 children with regressive autism and bowel disease, 82 tested, 70 proved for measles virus. Not wild measles virus. They said the vaccine strain of the measles virus, not the wild version. Well, I believe my time has come to conclusion, and thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, Ralph. Always interesting information. Once again, do your research. Go online, look for valid sources. You can always double check and get a copy on vitaminnervestore.com. And Ralph has given you the email in the past as well, too. So any questions, ask us, and we'll be happy to give you information at the Vitamin Herb stores. Thank you very much for joining. Bye.